How's it going, guys? Brito here at the place to be, PPG. Here to show you my Greenville Regional Top 16 Beelzemon deck profile. As you see here, I got 6th place, playing 7 rounds. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, the first to start off the eggs, we are running 4 Yamons. I prefer the stack build. If this Digimon, when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has Wizard or Demon Lord trait, trust top 2 cards of your deck. So that's pretty much just your level 4s and up. But oftentimes I'm either building up to a Balmon and swinging, or building up to a Beelzemon and swinging. For the rookies, I run 4 Imp X's. On play, when Digivolving, by trashing 1 option card in your hand, you may return 1 Digimon card with Evil, Wizard, or Demon Lord in the traits from your trash to your hand. So he helps a lot with the recursion. He also Digivolves for 0 on top of a regular Impmon, and he has the really awesome Inheritable. When attacking, trash top 2 cards of your deck. I prefer kind of the single stack builds for now. My preferred stack is doing the starter deck Imp, Imp X, Wizard, Wizard X, and then probably BT10 Bow, so I can just turn sideways and flip like 10% of my deck upside down. It's really awesome. It's really awesome. For the other rookie, I'm running 3 of the on deletion Imps. They're literally just either targets for when I mill an EX2 Beels, or just turn 1, turn 2, just hard drop them and swing next turn and do a bunch of mills. I run the one of BT6 Imp. He has an on-play effect. You may trash 1 card from your hand. If you do, return 1 Digimon card with 7 Great Demon Lords or 3 Musketeers in its type from your trash to your hand. I oftentimes use him late game to pick up Beels X from the trash. Like, let's say I know I have a EX2 Beels mill coming up and I really need a Beels X instead of just trying to pop a Rivals or use any one of my other resources. I will go ahead and find a way to mill the Beels, play out this Imp from trash, and then I pick up the Beels X and continue all my plays like that. Then the obligatory one of EX2 Imp. He is pretty much a staple. He's so strong. That's why he was limited to 1. Pretty much because one of his effects is when this card is trashed from your deck. If it wasn't trashed by his own effect, you may trash up to 3 more cards from the top of your deck. So a lot of people, what they like to do is, back when it was not restricted to 1, they would just loop this guy over and over again. He also has an on-play, reveal top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Beelzemon in its name, and 1 Iron Mako from among them to your hand, place the remaining at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then his Inheritable is your turn, while this Digimon has Beelzemon in its name, gains plus 3000 DP. I rarely Digivolve into him in the back. Oftentimes he's just someone I like to mill, just to get the mill 3. But there's times where I go against, let's say, a Black or Gray or any Greymon in name deck, and I really want the DP boost because they have that giant blocker. I don't mind Digivolving into him and then into like a Witchmon or Balmon just to continue getting that DP boost. He's also very similar to the BT6 Imp. He's kind of like a late game way of trying to pick up a Beels X. Instead of going for a Beels X from trash, and I know it's kind of coming up in the next few draws, I find a way to mill the EX2 Beels, like whether I stack it with Iron Mako or Wizardmon, and play him out so I can reveal top 4, grab the Beels X. So these two, the one-ofs, are usually very versatile in that sense. Then I run the 4 of starter deck Imp. He's great mainly because he has the warping effect. When attacking, if you have 20 more cards in trash, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Beelzemon from your trash with a Digivolution cost of 3, ignoring its Digivolution requirements, and then its Inheritable is probably what really changed the meta when this card came out. When this card is trash from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. So yeah, he single-handedly stopped people from running most Floodgates, especially the memory stopper ones. That's it for the rookies. Pretty much I run 13 rookies. Double check that. Yeah, 13 rookies. For the level 4s, I do the 4 Wizardmon, 4 Wizard X's, and the 1 Witchmon. 4 of Wizardmon, he's kind of mandatory. Anyone who runs him less than 4 is kind of crazy. When he gets trashed from your deck, you gain 1 memory, and then when attacking Inheritable, you may reveal 1 purple card from your hand and place it on top of your deck. Because of that, Inheritable is mainly the part what makes him such like a staple in the deck. Like, the memory gain is awesome, but being able to stack and control your mills, like, that's what makes this card so much better. The Wizard X, I like it mainly because the inheritable. When attacking, trash top two of your top two cards of your deck. Very similar to the Imp X. So if I have both of them in the stack, you're gonna be milling a lot, especially with the Yaman, Imp X, and Wizard X. Off those three cards alone, you're when attacking, you mill top six. He has when Digivolving effect, trash top two cards of your deck. If Wizardmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, it gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn instead. Keyword, instead. Early on, when people would Digivolve into him from a Wizard into a Wizard X, they would do the mill 2, and then they think they also gain blocker. But no, he just gains blocker if you Digivolve on top of the Wizard, so keep that in mind. So I run 4 Wizard X's, and the 1 Witch. Before, I used to like running 2 Witches, but I dropped down to 1, and honestly, it doesn't feel that much different. When Digivolving, trash top 3 cards of your deck, and then your turn, while this Digimon has Wizard or Demon Lord in its traits, it gains plus 2,000 DP. I look for this card when I'm trying to reach a certain number of cards in trash. So I either pick it up using Arrivals and then Digivolve into it, into like an Impmon that I just spawned, and I trash top 3, or I just kind of hold her in my hand up until like I'm gonna go for like a big turn against, like, let's say a Greymon deck again, because I need the DP. Yeah, that's where this card comes in. It's as a one of, it comes up enough. I haven't felt the need to up it to 2. For my level 5s, I run 7, so I run 3 of the BT10 Balmon. I kind of prefer him over the starter deck one, but I'm currently running Balmon starter deck at 4. But yeah, the BT10 Balmon is still really, really good. When attacking, you may trash up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, and then on deletion, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you may play 1 Beelzemon from your trash without paying its play cost. So he pretty much does the same thing as the other Balmon, but the Balmon kind of does it better. So it's when Digivolving, trash top 3 cards of your deck instead of when attacking, and then when Digivolving, this Digimon gains on deletion. If there are 10 or more cards in your trash, you may play 1 Beelzemon from your trash without paying its play cost to the end of your opponent's turn. And then this Balmon actually has an inheritable. Your turn, while this Digimon has Wizard or Demon Lord in its traits, gains plus 2,000 DP. So the main difference between these two Balmons is that this Balmon, he kind of like, if you keep him on board, then he's never going to lose that on deletion effect unless you Digivolve on top of him or he gets de-Digivolved. So he's good for having that one Balmon stack for multiple turns. This Balmon is good for when you're either going to Digivolve on top of him or you just want to have a body on board where you just want to, like, you just have the floating effect for that one turn. And he's mainly, well, actually no, he's mainly just good for just Digivolving on top of, like, imagine having a Beelzemon that if your opponent pops it, he just spawns out another Beelzemon. So yeah, he's good for Digivolve on top of for at least one turn, and then this Balmon is just good for having him on board for multiple turns. For the level 6s, I run 6 level 6s. I run 2 of the Beels X, 2 EX2 Beels, and then 2 starter deck Beels. I normally would prefer starter deck Beels at 3 because I really like going aggressive, and I would like increasing the odds of Digivolving to the starter deck. Just increasing the odds of Digivolving on top of him because he has the when Digivolving, trash top 4 cards of your deck. Then he also has the all turns effect and your turn effect. So all turns effect, when a card is trashed from your deck, you gain security attack +1 for every 10 cards in your trash. And then your turn, when a card is trashed from your deck, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. So even if you mill, he sees it, you gain the memory, then you Digivolve on top of him, he still has the security attack +1. He's the one that really allows you to go aggressive because of the security attack plus, and he helps you a lot with the memory manipulation because of the memory gain on his all turns effect. 2 EX2 Beels, he's really, really strong because he just special summons imps when he gets trashed from the deck. And then he's also a really, really good control option because he has both the when Digivolving and when attacking, not once per turn. You may trash top 2 cards of your deck, then delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon. For every 10 cards in the trash, add 1 to the maximum level of Digimon you can choose with this effect. So keep in mind, the first part of the effect, you may trash top 2 cards of your deck. That part is a you may effect. You don't have to trash top 2. But then the second part, then delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon. That part is mandatory. So whenever you Digivolve or attack with him, you have to pop something, whether you mill something or not. So keep that in mind. And then, yeah, the 2 Beels X's, which is one of the cards that has made Beelzemon such such a good card. It's just such a good deck, period. Because when digivolving, if this Digimon has Beelzemon or X antibody in its sources, trash the top card of your opponent's security for every 10 cards in trash. So just off that effect alone, you want to try to get to 20 or 30 cards in trash, and then use him to just trash the remaining of your opponent's security and swing for game. So he's your big boss finisher. And then on deletion, you may play one Digimon card with Impmon in its name from your trash without paying its memory cost. So keep in mind it's in its name, so that includes Imp X. Yeah, I usually use that effect mainly for when I don't quite have game that turn that I go into him. I'm just going to use him to take out the rest of my opponent's security, keep him on board, and then he has that floating effect of Imp. If you combo that up with the starter deck Balmon, then if they choose to pop that stack, you end up spawning a Beelzemon and an Impmon in its name. For level 7s, I'm running 2 level 7s. For the first one is the obligatory one of Blast Mode. When this card is trashed from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon. For every 10 cards in the trash, increase the highest level. With this effect, you can choose by 1. So this is very similar to the Beelzemon effect. That when it gets trashed, you just pop something. Very similar to the Beelzemon, as in the Beelzemon's when digivolving when attacking effect. And then it has the when digivolving effect, unsuspend this Digimon, period. If you have 20 or more cards in your trash, gain 3 memory. So I kind of like to think of him as like Blitz Omni for game. So he's him comboed up with Beelz X, he's your finisher. Because if you have already swung with the Beelz X and you still don't have game, the Beelz X usually just unsuspend, swing for game. Then the one spicy tech choice that not a lot of people saw coming in Greenville was the Shine Gray Ruin mode. So first of all, he's a level 7, digivolves for 5 on top of a 6 or on top of a 6 purple or yellow, and then he has the when digivolving and on deletion effect, not once per turn. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, all your opponent's Digimon get minus 5,000 DP, and then end of attack, delete this Digimon and one of your opponent's Digimon and recover 1. Then, if you have a Tamer in play, hatch one Digimon egg card from the empty space in your breeding area. So he's pretty much for when I don't quite have game after I Beelz X or I just rip his security. I go into him, minus 5k to my opponent's board. Oftentimes, I have already cleared what's been on board, and they have that one Digimon in raising. Oftentimes in this meta, especially with like Shine Gray or even Belpha or some other decks, they oftentimes leave a 4 in the back, a 3 or 4, so that when they digivolve into their 4 or 5, they can benefit off their other one digivolving effects. So when they have a board state like that, they usually just have that level 3 or 4. So when you go into the Ruin mode, it absolutely stops them from promoting and on playing any of their rookies to try to search. So Ruin mode is absolutely one of the best stall cards in all of purple. So there will be plenty of times where I would have I would clear the security, clear the board, end turn with the Ruin mode, putting them to 5 or so, and they just can't do anything. GG's for them, because next turn I'm promoting my Impmon or just swinging with the Shine Gray Ruin for game. There's absolutely nothing they can do about that. And this card actually came up so many times in the regionals. At the end of this profile, I'll go over my matchups to explain a little better how Shine Gray really helped out. For the options, I'm running 2 7-fold clusters. I always run this at 2. I've tried at 1. I don't like it at 1. 2 is the magical sweet spot. So it has the trashing effect, your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Beelzemon X antibody by returning this card to the bottom of your deck, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level, and has the main effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon at the lowest level, and then the security effect, activate main effect. So the reason I like running this card at 2 is because this is one of the most efficient ways I can control board. So when I go into Beelz X for 1, like let's say I have the Beelzemon and then I go into Beelz X for 1, I not only trash the top card of my opponent's security, but this card, for essentially just one member of Digivolving, you bottom deck it to just pop a body, pop a lowest level body. And in this meta that there's a lot of single stacks that don't have protection, like for example, Shine Gray Ruin, Shine Gray Mon deck period, it just pops their stack. No protection, just evil for 1, bottom deck this, pop their level 6. GG easy. So that's why I run it at 2. I want to see it in trash as often as I want. Increasing it to 3 or 4 is a little too much because it's only really good for that. It's also a nice security bomb. But pretty much this card also helps me manipulate my deck in the sense where most of my matchups, I just outspeed them. The only way my opponents typically beat me is if they deck me out. So this is one of the cards that helps me refill my deck to not deck out, since you have to bottom deck 7 full cluster when you go into Beelz X. So that's another reason why I like having this card at 2. I prefer having 1 card left in deck. I prefer having 2 cards left in deck than 1 card left in deck. For the other option, I have 3 Death Singers. This card is really, really nice at 4, but I needed to make space, and I opted that 1 memory gain when milling is probably something I can cut out. But yeah, so when this card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory. Main effect, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. For every 10 cards, increase the level by 1. So at 20 cards, this pops level 6s. At 30 cards, this card pops level 7s. So this card, I love it a lot. It's very, very efficient at 4 memory. But yeah, oftentimes people prefer milling this card just for the memory gain. For the last option I run in the deck, it's 4 Rivals Barrage. When this card is trashed from your deck, you may place it into the battle area. Main effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon at the highest level, and then has the delay effect that after the turn you put into the battle area, you pop it, return a purple Digimon or Tamer card from your trash to your hand. Oftentimes when I mill the Rivals, my targets to pick up are either any pieces I'm missing to try to go up to Beelz, so it's whether it's a 3, 4, 5, whatever, or I oftentimes pick up Ruin Mode or Beelz X depending on the situation. Or even Blast Mode just to go for game. But yeah, the way I like to think of it, I really like these ratios, 2, 3, 4. Cluster pops anything lowest, Rivals pops anything of the highest, and then Death Singer gets pretty much everything in between. For the last card in the deck I run is 4 Iron Mako. 4 Iron Mako, this is the purple cool boy, pretty much. So for 3 cost, on play, reveal top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Evil, Wizard, or Demon Lord, trade among them to your hand, place the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. Your turn, one of your purple Digimon digivolves into a purple Digimon. By suspending this Tamer, return 1 card from your hand to the top of your deck and gain 1 memory. Keep in mind, the your turn effect, the only cost after you digivolve to gain the memory is pretty much by suspending this Tamer. Return 1 card from your hand to the bottom, to the top of the deck and gain 1. So all you gotta do is tap it. If you don't have any cards in your hand, you do as much as you can. You don't have to put anything on top. If you have cards in your hand, but if you don't have any cards in your hand, you simply just gain the memory. The only payment you have to do to gain that 1 memory is suspending this Tamer when you digivolve into a Digimon. But oftentimes when you digivolve, you draw a card, so you're gonna have that. But there will be times where it's happened to me. I have multiple of these guys out, I have 1 card in hand, I digivolve, I just draw 1, I tap the first Iron Mako, put that 1 card on top of the deck, then I have the second Iron Mako, I tap it and just simply gain the memory. So keep that in mind for this card. I run it as a 4 of because this is one of the best searchers in your deck and one of the best consistency cards. So running it as a 4 of is like no less than 3. 3 is probably the least I'd put it at. I tried it at 2 before. It felt really, really bad. So yeah, 3 to 4. 4 is best for consistency. For my matchups, I had 7 rounds. It was a 7-round tournament. So for round 1, I went against Bloom. It was a 2-0 sweep. It's a really, really good matchup on my part. Second round was Blue Flare against Keaton. Dude, that guy just destroyed me. Like I did not get a single game off him. He just did not misplay at all. He knew exactly what to do against Beelzemon. For round 3, I went up against Gallant. It was kind of a rough matchup for him. He couldn't quite get up to his 5s or 6s because I would just pop him before he got to that point. Like I remember by the end of game 2, he did have a level 4 in the back, and I couldn't quite close out the game, but I took out all his security, and then I just ended the turn with Ruin Mode, and he just couldn't do anything with that because he couldn't promote, he couldn't on-play many things, and he just didn't have the out. For round 4, I went up against the Greymon deck. I think it was a very aggressive one, but simply he bricked game 2, or was it game 2 or 3? Regardless, he bricked one of the important games. I got game 1, he got game 2, and then game 3. He promoted a suboptimal stack. He did a bunch of checks. He took my security, phone, wallet, keys, took everything from me, and then it had no protection, so I just popped it the turn after, and he had no level 3s going forward. So it was kind of an easy win on the game 3, but games 1 and 2, like I had to think, he had to think. It was a rough match. For round 5, Hunters, I 2-0'd them. Unfortunately, it was that they couldn't quite close out the game as fast as I could. So let's say they were 1 or 2 turns behind. It was kind of rough for them. For round 6, it was against Shine Gray. I got it 2-1. That's another matchup that it's very Beelzemon favored, since I have 10, 11, 9 options in my deck. Most of them just end up living in security, bro. Just first check rivals, yeah. And especially when they promote, let's say, a level 3, they go into the 4, they go into the 5, they promote the Marcus, and they swing with the Marcus. If first check is rivals, or any one of my options, I cannot target any of the tamers, because the tamers have no levels. The only valid target is one of the Digimon they have on board, and oftentimes it's a single stack deck. So they have their level 6 out, they do the first check with the Marcus, first check rivals, I pop their big stack, and it just kills their entire turn. So that's pretty much how it went for all 3 of their games. Game 1, I was missing pieces, so I couldn't quite keep up the tempo, and then it got to a point where I just had nothing but levels 5s and 6s in hand, and he just obliterated my security game 1. And then game 2, exactly how I said it would happen. He would check security, it'd kill his Digimon, and then I just swing, mill, burn security, swing for game. And then games 3, he just simply bricked. It was rough. Game 3 was really sad to see, because after having a really well fought out games 1 and 2, game 3 was rough. And then for the final round 7, Bloom, it was against Jalen, a really cool guy I met. Yeah, Bloom Lord, it was a rough one too. I just 2-0'd him. It was rough. So yeah, I ended the tourney going with a 6-1 record, going 6th place. Now I want to give a few shout-outs to some of the people I met down at the regional in Greenville. So first, I want to say congratulations to Brody. He got first place with Beelzemon. I was fortunate enough to be able to dodge all of the Beelzemon players, because I prefer, even though I feel like Beelzemon has a good matchup against Beelzemon, I don't want to play against them, because I want all top 16 to be purple, because purple master race. But yeah, Brody, congrats, brother. Getting first place with Beelzemon, awesome. Another person I want to kind of give shout out to is Keenan Maddox. He is actually the only person that beat me in the entire tournament. I got paired up against them round 2 or 3. I'll go over my matchups now in a sec. And he's the only one that beat me. And then I'm super happy to see that me and him made it to the top tables. Another person that I want to give a shout out to was John Rosero, All Force Beelzemon. Dude, he's a local peep. He's down here in the Miami area. And I hadn't met him up until that regional. And I remember in the later rounds, in the last 2 rounds, it was me and him in getting paired up, in the tables next to us. We weren't paired up with each other, but he'd be, for example, table 6, I'd be table 7. And occasionally, I'd look over at his board, I'd see 4 tapped arenas, and I'd think, okay, he's got that game perfect. And we're just rooting for each other the entire time. Another person I want to kind of give a shout out to, they didn't make it top 16, was Hunter Smothers. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Security control player. Dude, I really wanted to see him top, but unfortunately in the last few rounds, he just couldn't make it. If you guys like any of the cards you saw from my Beelzemon deck profile, make sure to click down below for our TCG affiliate link. We have all the cards you need. If you want more exclusive content, you go ahead and sign up to our Patreon. We have some pretty dope stuff in there. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you have any questions down in the comments below. See ya. And then I'm looking at myself here, dude. The lighting is really, really nice too with the here. The camera here is just, bro. I feel like a pop star, bro.
You feel like a
I feel like a pop star. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache.